It's Kovacic and Jorginho. Who's your man in the match? That's the big thing. Do you give it to Jorginho for that wonderful pass, or Kovacic just for his wonderful play? Because he has come on leaps and bounds this year under Lampard. Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for my rational perspective on Watford 1, Chelsea 2. Chelsea making it 5 wins in a row in the Premier League, and also Frank Lampard becoming only the second Chelsea manager in history to win 7 consecutive away matches. An impressive record to have on his CV, and I think that's the word I'm going to use to describe the performance last night. I thought it was really impressive from Chelsea once again, and I don't think the scoreline did Chelsea justice, I have to be honest. I think thanks to Ben Foster with some incredible saves, it kept the score down and kept Watford in the game. And really the fact that Chelsea were hanging on and could have been going out of there with only a point, I think wouldn't have been fair, to be honest. I think Chelsea were brilliant at points last night and deserved more goals. But going into the team, great to see Emerson back in the starting lineup after his injury. Probably the best time to reintroduce him, and I think they've clearly managed him well, not rushing him back. He could have come back against Ajax, he probably could have come back against Burnley, but no, they've waited for the right moment, waited till he's fully ready to come back, which is what we want to see with these injuries, not to re-aggravate them, and then he'll be out longer. So it was great to see him back in the starting lineup. Where else do we start with this game other than that Jorginho pass of the season, assist of the season? A wonderful moment from Jorginho. His second assist, both for Tammy. This was absolutely stunning to witness. It was Fabregas-esque, I have to say, the way he barely looked up. And it was clearly something they've been working on in training, as was said by players and by Lampard earlier in the week. And I think that was clearly worked, and I think it's something important in these games when a team like Watford, where they are in the table, they're going to set up defensively, 5 men at the back, they're going to try and frustrate Chelsea, but to get the early goal is always so key in a game like this, because it opens it up, it changes the dynamic of the game, and it really puts Watford back, and the low confidence they have at the moment with where they are in the table, it's going to dent that even further, and Chelsea really were able to capitalise on that. And Jorginho has been trying that pass for about a year. The difference between last season and this season is now we have a clinical, instinctive, confident striker in Tammy Abraham, who's now on 9 Premier League goals, 10 in all comps. Brilliant for him, because he has had a barren few games without a goal, so it's great to see him back on the score sheet. And of course he impacted the game again later on in it, so that will give him confidence as well. And really, as I said earlier, if it wasn't for Ben Foster, this would have been a rout. It should have been 2, 3 and 4. Tammy Abraham had a shot denied. Christian Pulisic had a lovely looping header tipped over by Foster. I think that was the most impressive save of the night. And I think later on in the half, Mason Mount had a rocket of a shot deflected onto the bar from Foster there, so it was tipped onto the bar. So that really would have killed the game by half time, and unfortunately that just didn't happen, and Foster was on top form as he has been to try and keep Watford in the Premier League probably, and he had a wonderful night last night and could have saved them a point, to be honest, at the end. But yeah, that was frustrating, and it became a bit of a scruffy game. I think Watford grew in confidence. Delafeu had a chance. That was mostly what they created in the whole game, to be honest. They didn't offer a lot going forward as expected to where they are on the table. But I think Chelsea dealt with it well, and I think some of the players at the back deserve credit. I think Kurt Zouma was immense last night, just in terms of physically getting to the ball first. He's in form at the moment. He's not putting a foot wrong at the moment, and considering where he was at the start of the season with some of the mistakes he made, he's really grown and looks to be going back to where he was, and even better than when he was a few years ago at Chelsea before he got that injury. And it's wonderful to see a player like him, who we knew had this ability within him, just get back into fine form for Chelsea. So it's great to see, and I think he deserves major credit, because I thought he was immense once again. Has just been a bit understated, but now I think he's getting the credit he deserves. And you just knew if Chelsea could get back into the flow of things, get back on the ball, it would only be a matter of time before we created more chances, and especially in the second half. And the second goal did eventually come in the second half through Christian Pulisic. Willian with wonderful pace through the middle. He lays it off to Tammy Abraham, who made a move out wide. I thought he was going to let it go for a corner, but smartly he didn't. He takes the ball down, and a wonderfully threaded ball into the centre. Dangerous place. It's almost a corridor of uncertainty for goalkeepers. Foster can't commit, and Pulisic with brilliant anticipation to get there first. It was a critical goal at a critical moment in the game from Pulisic. And I think next to talk about is Kovacic and Jorginho. Who's your man in the match? That's the big thing. Do you give it to Jorginho for that wonderful pass, or Kovacic just for for his wonderful play, because he has come on leaps and bounds this year under Lampard. He looks free. He looks just so confident and assured on the ball. We knew that talent was there, but he just looks so more incisive and progressive and so more dangerous for the opposition now. Instead of the sideways passing, he's taking the ball and he's driving forward a lot, which he's just wonderful at with his dribbling skill, and could have had an assist himself for Pulisic as well. So I think both of them, the perception of both of them last season and how they've grown and developed and are now getting both of their names sung. I know there's a new Kovacic chant in the middle of the pitch, so it's just a sight to behold, and I'm so happy for both of those players because they are so integral to what we're doing at the moment. It felt like last night they were just taking the mick out of Watford and just seeing what they could get away with, the flicks and tricks and the wonderful passes, and just both of them have a wonderful chemistry. The next thing to talk about is, of course, the penalty that got given, and it was a bit of complacency from Chelsea once again in the latter stages of the game. Kovacic and JORGINHO, who had been doing wonderfully, JORGINHO getting dispossessed. I love playing out from the back, but sometimes it's just, you know where you are, JORGINHO. As smart of a player as he is of seeing the pitch, he gives it away in his box and Deulofeu goes down. And of course, VAR with Mike Dean on top of it. I don't want to go too far into VAR because we could sit here all day speaking about it, and many people speak about it all day. So all I'll say is I think what Lampard said in his post-match interview, it's not clear and obvious. Why did it take that long? And it seems now refs have gone to the other extreme now, where a few weeks ago they were giving nothing and overturning nothing from VAR. Now they're overturning everything, it seems. And to me, it's not clear and obvious, and I don't think it should have been overturned. And it just felt so confusing, and the fact it took that long. But Deulofeu steps up and scores, and it gives Watford a route back into the game. That complacency again from Chelsea, and Chelsea really didn't hold on to the ball, I don't think, that well. And Watford grew in confidence. And we've got to talk about the big save from Kepa in the final seconds from Ben Foster. I was listening to a podcast saying somehow Kepa hasn't made crucial saves for Chelsea. Well, there's one right there. He made another one last year against Watford. Kepa deserves credit as well, because that's a big moment. He didn't have to do a lot in the game, but this is the thing with top keepers. They've got to be switched on, because maybe for a keeper like Foster, who's up against a lot of shots in a game, usually for a team like Watford, when they're faced up against it a lot of the time, and he has to make wonderful saves. Kepa in a lot of games recently doesn't have a lot to do, but you've got to be switched on for that one moment that's so critical and gets your team the win. And it was the final moments of the game. Sure, it's a save I expect him to make, but it's still one he has to make in a crowded box, and brilliant from Kepa, and he wins us the game. And it's another win, and it just felt that the big celebrations at the end, a sigh of relief. That's why I've waited to do this review, because Chelsea, man, are going to be the death of me eventually. But it was great to see another win, another 3 points on a day when other teams in and around us like Arsenal drop points. It's another big 3 points for us to keep the confidence, keep the momentum going. Small little things. JORGINHO, of course, missing next week for a yellow card for time wasting. Frustrating, but I spoke in my team selector about the amount of time and minutes he's been playing recently. So maybe it's a good rest. And to be fair, if he got that booking next week, he misses Manchester City. So I'd rather him miss Palace than Man City, I have to be honest. And let's hope Kante is back as well, so that he can fill in that role. And yeah, I think other things as well. Of course, 5 wins in a row now, and it keeps the confidence going, keep the confidence up. It's a good time to bounce back. And we go into that game against Ajax on Tuesday, hopefully with the chance and the confidence and the belief to do the double over Ajax and put ourselves basically en route to the knockout stages. But yeah, it was scruffy. It was scrappy at times. It could have been more dominant. Of course, it isn't perfection, and that's what we were talking about a lot with Chelsea this season. But you have to give it to Chelsea. Whilst other teams are faltering and suffering and stuttering, Chelsea continue to get points in the bag. And I think that I think Chelsea have dealt with this period of Premier League games after Liverpool and after that tricky start really well. And we've got a chance to make it 6 wins in a row. And that's what we wanted when we looked at this set of fixtures before going to the Etihad. Can Chelsea get 6 wins in a row? Well, they're one away from doing it now, which would be an absolutely brilliant return and put us in such a strong position going into that Christmas period. But thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Those are my opinions on the game. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you did enjoy the video, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.